Ooh, it has been a minute. Oh my gosh, Instagram update. Now I gotta remember how to do all this stuff. Goodness sakes. Okay, Boomer Chasten. There we go. All right, so we are going to talk with my friend Mayor Nan Whaley from Dayton, Ohio, who is running for governor in Ohio. I'm very excited to chat with her so she can tell you a little bit more about herself and why she's running. So let's bring Nan into the room right now. Maybe. Oh, this is sad. I don't know if I know what I'm doing. Nan, I requested you. This is embarrassing. Oh my gosh. This is my worst nightmare. This is when your students make fun of you. There we go. All right.
Like, I'm a little older than you, Chasten, so I'm like, hoping you got it all down. So I was so excited. I'm like, request to join, request to join.
I kept hitting the button. It's so sad. This is when my students would be laughing. They'd be in stitches.
Right?
Like, this old guy.
Hey, I've been meaning to tell you that I love your kitchen.
Oh, thank you.
It's so well done. So well done. I've been seeing you like doing events and stuff, and I haven't had the chance to just say it's awesome.
Oh, thanks. I love this kitchen. I don't know if you can see up in the top corner, I was trying to do something with the cabinets and the whole cabinet came down.
Oh no, I couldn't see that.
That's how good I am at and here I am like pointing out the faults, like, look there.
Look at this. It's such a Midwestern thing to do, Chasten. Oh yes, don't look at this. Just see this big problem I have right here.
I love your kitchen. Oh, it's terrible. I pulled a cabinet down the other day.
Yeah, exactly.
Awful.
That's what everybody in the Midwest does.
Well, it's really nice to see you.
I know. I miss you so much. I miss Chasten hugs. I miss us hanging out. I miss having random conversations. So we'll get there soon, right?
Absolutely. And for everybody who's watching, Nan, you've known me probably the longest out of a lot of mayor friends that we have. I met you very early on when I started dating Pete. You've been a good friend of mine, and you've been a good ally of mine as our lives have changed so quickly, and you've always been there for me. So I appreciate it, not just as a very, very sharp, capable political mind, but just as a friend as well.
Well, you are a great friend, and let me just share this story with everybody.
Oh, no.
So Chasten, he actually came to Ohio for a bit, right? So to be at Xavier Montessori, and wanted a place to stay. And I said, oh, you can stay at my brother's house. And I had been doing this a lot, like just inviting people to stay at my brother's house in his basement. And so he didn't know you. And so I said, oh yeah, like Chasten, he's a friend, he's Pete's boyfriend, like he's gonna stay at your house. And my brother like almost said like, I'm really tired of you inviting people, but he and his wife took it. And then you came and you were like so great to Teddy, my nephew, who still talks about and asks about you all the time. And then David was like, oh, you can invite whoever. Like, Chasten was so great. So I just want to let you know, like, you have solidified the Whaley basement in Cincinnati for many people to come.
Well, thank you.
Because you were such a great guest, and they loved you so much. So thank you. Thank you for proving that I have good friends to my brother. That's really, like, where the relationship is really at. For
my mother raised me right. You have to be a good house guest.
Yeah, you were terrific, and they just love you so much and are so proud of you. I'm just so proud of how you're moving through this. The story in the Post this week, I've gotten tons of texts from people saying how, I think, Chasten, what you do that nobody does is you're really honest about what's going on, and people don't see that very much. And so so I'm just so proud of you to always be your real, and people overuse the word authentic, but like your real self. So
I appreciate that, for better or for worse, whether the the quote is true or not. I don't think I can survive in this business without being my authentic self, and I wish that there were more people like that in Washington who would just take a deep breath and share what they're actually going through. We could spend 30 minutes talking about that, but I'm glad to bring a little vulnerability to Washington because I feel like you know, people are looking up to those in positions of power and wondering where they fit and if they see someone who really sees them and understands them. And it's something I really admire about you as well. You've been a phenomenal mayor, and now you're running for governor.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Tell me about it. Why are you running?
I love being mayor of Dayton. You know that, right, Chasten? I love Dayton.
Yeah.
It's a great city. We've been through quite a bit in 2019, and all cities have been through a lot in 2020. But really decided to run because, and I told the other mayors in Ohio this, you know, if we don't change Ohio, what we're seeing, we don't have a partner with the state house. We see them like being super self-interested and self-absorbed about what's best for them rather than what's best for the people in my community or the people in the community overall. They'll continue to attack communities like mine and the people that live in my community, whether that's, you know, people of color, LGBT people, like women, you know, folks that make up cities. And I just can't step by and just say, oh, well, this is really hard to run for governor of Ohio. I'm not going to do it. You know, that's just not in my nature. It's not it's not in your nature either. Like when you see something, you have to take action. And when you think you're the best candidate, you got to go for it. I did say, I have to tell you, Chasten, I did say, like, if Sherrod Brown ran for governor or LeBron James, I would have decided not running for governor. But I think, like, because, you know, they have passed on it, I think I will be the strongest candidate for Ohio.
All right. So you mentioned quite a few things there. And I think it's really important for some of the folks watching, if they don't know you as well. You are currently the president of the Conference of Mayors. And amongst the community of mayors, you are like, I forget the phrase that Pete used, like a mayor's mayor or whatever. You're just like, I mean, everybody at the Conference of Mayors looks up to you on both sides of the aisle. And you also mentioned something really historic with your candidacy, is that you'd be the first female governor. So what does that mean to you? What does this historical aspect of your campaign mean to you on one hand? And then also, what does it mean as a mayor to be seeking the governorship?
Right. So I really I didn't take it in, honestly, when I decided to run for governor, that I would be the first even candidate from that is nominated by a party. If I'm the Democratic nominee, which we think I will be, like, nobody's ever even gotten the chance as a woman to run for governor in Ohio.
Wow.
So I didn't really understand that or appreciate that until I really got in the race. And look, I mean, I always say I'm a second generation woman leader. And so I stand on the shoulders of other great women. That makes my job a little easier and allows me to be freer in how I portray my leadership and how I can really be more real. It is harder being a first. It is way, way harder. You wouldn't, I mean, like by a factor of 10. But there's just huge opportunity there because you know this, Chasten, right? You know, by doing this and being a first, you give hope to so many more people to say, hey, leadership can look different. It doesn't have to be the straight white guy from one of the 3C communities. Like, it can be a different kind. You know, in Ohio, we call the 3Cs Columbus, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. We love them dearly, but there are other cities in Ohio too. Yeah. And so I think that has been something that I've been growing into. I should probably talk to you about some advice about that. But it's a huge honor at the same time. And then being a mayor, you know, that's really what drives me into the race. You know, cities like mine, and you know, I have a chip on my shoulder about this because we talk about it. And I talked about it at Pete's announcement, you know, in South Bend and Dayton are very similar in the sense that, you know, the people in our communities have felt forgotten and ignored. And I don't blame them for being angry about it. And I think there's, you know, both federal and state policy that can make a difference for people in our communities that just gets completely sidewinded because in Ohio, at least, the FBI has called the Ohio State House the most corrupt state house in the country. And so the self-interest and self-dealing, you know, when do they have time to deal with Dayton then, or Toledo or Marietta? Never, right? And so, you know, making sure that my community really gets the kind of leadership it deserves out of Ohio is something that's super important to me.
Absolutely. I love that, Nan. And I feel like it's so easy whether you're running for any office to focus on culture wars or things that are flashy, that get a lot of traction online. But as a mayor, you know that the people in your community and the people in your state who are hurting, who are waiting for action, aren't spending their days debating, very childish things on Twitter. They're looking for action and they're looking for results. So what are some of those things that you're hoping to get in there and fix and do as governor?
Well, the first thing, because of this issue that we have with just the self-interest and self-dealing, and I just talk a little bit about what's happening here.
Yeah.
Is why we got this terrible name from this FBI most corrupt state in the country, the place you don't want to be, number one, Ohio, right? We want to be like one in football, not in this.
Yeah.
Is the fact that we have for about 3 decades, we've had one party control at the state house. And the things that the state house decides to work on are the places where we have lobbyists with a lot of money and self-interest in that. And so they can line their political pockets or their personal pockets to get stuff done. And the latest is this $60 million bribery scandal, which has been called the largest in Ohio's history, where basically folks, Republican legislators and some folks that they're even talking about, some folks in the governor's administration were doing work for First Energy, who just settled with the federal government, a utility company, for $230 million, the largest in the country, in the whole country ever. And they were taking this bailout, getting bribes for it, and then putting the bailout cost on every single Ohioan's utility bill. And I don't even get my utility, my electricity from First Energy, but I was paying this corruption tax in Dayton I'm still paying for it every single month. And so this kind of stuff is affecting people's lives, because your bills are going up, you're not getting paid as much in jobs. So first, like, cleaning up Columbus is really, really important. The second thing is we've got to raise the wage in Ohio. Like in my community, communities across the state, I know people working 2 jobs, not getting paid enough, and then having to go to the food bank to get food to provide for their kids. And I'm sorry, I think it's on Ohioan, it's on Midwestern, it's on American. If you work and you work hard, no matter what the job is, you should get paid enough to be able to provide for your family. And so we've got to change that. And then we've got to be super focused on one good job, making sure that folks only need one good job to provide for their families. And that's what Ohio is about. I think the Midwest is about that, whether you're in Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. We make things in this region. We provide for our families, and we should be able to do that no matter what the job is. And so that's something I'm really passionate about, and see too often in my community that is out of reach for so many people.
Yeah. I love listening to you talk, and sometimes I'm thinking about some of these meals we'd have at, Conference of Mayors, where I would listen to you and Pete just go back and forth. It was like watching a tennis match. And
you're too kind, Chasten. I mean, Pete, this. I've said Pete is the smartest person I know. And what makes Pete so kind and so smart is he actually listens to people like me about my thoughts and ideas. And I always think the smartest people are the ones that are able to learn from everybody, right? Mm-hmm. So there's tons of people in our party, right, that think they're the smartest person in the room and walk in, but Pete always knows that no matter where he is, he can learn from somebody, even somebody like me, but other folks all across, he's always listening. And so I had great dinners with you guys, and I look forward to more, basically because you guys just let me spout off all the time.
Well, I love it, because you can tell that you care, and that's what matters, is people in these sorts of positions who actually care about the job that they have, people who get excited about sewers and the whatnot. I want to ask you about 2 things that are really close to my heart, education and LGBTQ equality. So as governor, what would you do to improve education in Ohio? And where do you stand on LGBTQ rights in Ohio, and what excites you, and what do you want to do as governor to fight for the LGBTQ community?
Right. So first, I'm really excited. In Dayton's record, we were really one of a couple dozen cities in the country that fought to pass high quality preschool for every 4-year-old. And that was a real signature for me in my first term, to like talk to voters about how this could really change their lives. And Dayton, by double digits, voted to support this effort. And just a couple of weeks ago, we got to expand it to 3- and 4-year-olds in Dayton. So I'm super, super proud of that. And if you ask me, like, what's the thing I'm most proud of in Dayton, it's universal preschool for Dayton kids. Because I think, you know, the best communities are the communities that protect and promote those that don't have any voice. And sure enough, 0 to 5-year-olds don't have any voice, particularly in our political system. And that's what I'm most proud of. And it's making big difference in our community. We get, not only is it great for kids and they're starting off kindergarten ready, but it's a, you know, great small business for a lot of women of color who are running preschool programs. And then also, you know, during the pandemic, it was a godsend for childcare, right? So, you know, families that are really at the breaking point around childcare, both men and women who provide for kids, it's a big deal. So I think we could provide that statewide. It's no reason why Ohio can't have preschool. I'm excited President Biden's talking about this in his American Families Plan. And it's a great way to really grow the opportunities for our kids. And then, you know, making sure that we kids finish high school, but also then have easy access to community college. The community college is accessible and free. I mean, we need folks in Ohio to be able to get certified or have an associate's degree or have like some sort of apprenticeship. And there's no reason why people should have to go into debt to get that work. And so having free community college is really important because we want to continue making the next industrial revolution in Ohio, which has a lot to do around energy jobs and those opportunities. But you're going to need a little more than a high school degree. And so we want to make sure that that opportunity is for everybody and that people can get what they need. So that's really, really important to me when we're talking about education. And I recognize too, a lot of times, I think the conversation's been all about teachers, because really all we have left is teachers in kids' lives. And the majority of time kids spend is actually out of school. And so what are the other things that we can do to help kids provide those opportunities? And I think preschool and community college are 2 places that we need to do more on. And then you asked me about LGBTQ rights. Yeah. Look, I am proud that I was after the Obergefell decision, I was the first, I performed the first same-sex marriage in the state of Ohio. An hour and 3 minutes later, a dear friend of mine, Carrie Gray, who worked for me, and his now husband, Tim, they're still happily married. I got to perform their wedding. So it was very personal to me. Yeah. And we really didn't, know that we were the first. We just were like, if this happens, every day we'd look, every day we'd go. And that's something in Dayton that I've really, really leveraged. I have to say, when I first came as city commissioner here, this was not an LGBTQ friendly city, and really fought for, and because I've been on for 16 years now in the city hall. So a bit of a while and seen this progression, but we didn't even have protection of housing rights in our city for the LGBTQ community. So, we did that, did domestic partnerships before we could do gay marriage in Ohio, banned conversion therapy, have a perfect record from HRC, of course, around municipal quality indexes. So again, that's what I would do at the State House. And we're not seeing that at the State House, right? We still don't, as a state, you can be discriminated in Ohio based on your sexual orientation. That's unacceptable. We need to make sure that these protections are in place in the state, because it shouldn't just be, well, I'm an LGBTQ friendly city, so I'm okay, but I'm not okay somewhere else. And that's, I think, really, really important. And I'm proud to work with Equality Ohio and been one of their local leaders and champions my entire time. It's just so important. I like to say in Dayton, my motto and vision for our city is, no matter who you love, where you come from, or what you believe, you are welcome in Dayton. And I don't think there's any reason why we can't have that in Ohio too. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited for not only every Ohioan, but LGBTQ Ohioans to look up to the governor's mansion or house, or whatever you all have there.
We have a mansion. It's very fancy, and none of the previous governors, like the governor now has his own mansion, so he doesn't make it to this mansion. So
wow.
Yeah. So I was on a show this morning, and they were like, "Will you really live in the mansion?" I was like, "Look, I'm not a millionaire, so Sam and I will move to the
Imagine being
mansion.
like,
I'm telling you.
I have my own mansion. I'm good.
Seriously, the current governor, Chasten, his mansion has a Wikipedia page. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fancy stuff.
Well, I want especially young LGBTQ Ohioans to look up to you and to look up to that seat of power and know that somebody actually cares about them. And as we know, with some of the data that just recently came out from the Trevor Project, HRC, this is a number that has been floating around for a very long time, and it's only getting worse. That 40% of homeless youth identify as LGBTQ, and oftentimes it's in rural areas, rural places like Ohio, where kids can really run into a lot of issues and a lot of problems. So I'm excited to talk with you more about that in the future, about what we can do in Ohio to ensure that every kid and every person feels like they belong. So thank you. Thanks for committing to that work.
Thank you for your great advocacy on it and bringing it up all the time. You're awesome.
Oh, you've got to, yeah. I want to ask something really important that I feel like not a lot of people are asking. Is Sam ready to be the first gentleman of Ohio?
Yes, he's listening right now, Chasten. He's laughing at you. Yeah, I mean, he's a breaker too, right? There's never been a guy being the first gent, as he likes to say. So,
Great.
yeah, he's excited, and you know this, right? You can't do this without a great partner. And when we do this work, you sacrifice so much for Pete, and Sam sacrifices so much for me. And you guys, I think Sam feels a lot more about stuff when people say nasty stuff about us, or when something doesn't go quite right. It hits Sam a lot harder than it really hits me, and I'm sure that's true for you too with Pete. But yeah, he's ready. We're always on a wild journey together, right? And right. You don't do it alone.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you recognize that. I don't think definitely that you or Pete could do what you do. No. If you didn't have a strong rock to come home to and a person at your side to remind you of who you are. I'm excited to see Sam as first gentleman in Ohio.
We'll have you guys over. We'll have you over to the mansion, right?
Great. If the current governor's not living in it, so we're gonna have to dust it and clean it up a bit.
We should just go now. We should just go.
I mean, with all that's happening, can we open it up and use it for other public services?
Yeah,
just sitting there. I don't think your current governor would think of that.
No, exactly.
The whole "carry as we climb" motto doesn't seem to be sticking over there.
No.
Okay, so really, this is a really important race. How can everybody who's watching right now help you and learn more about you?
Well, check me out at nanwhaley.com, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, of course, as well. And it's just Nan Whaley, so it's really easy to find. But we have a huge deadline tomorrow, and tomorrow is, unlike the federal races that have quarterly deadlines people are used to, it's an Ohio state race, and so the first and only deadline of the year is tomorrow at 4:00. So we're asking anyone to, whatever they can spare, if they believe in this race, please just donate. Go to nanwhaley.com and donate whatever you can. It is really important, as we've talked about, being the first woman candidate for governor, to show that I'm financially viable, right? Because that's kind of the rub on women a lot. They can't raise. We don't have the networks men have. So we're just asking everybody, this is a grassroots effort. And also, as I've talked about on this, I'm not a millionaire. So, and I'm not, and I just went to the family reunion and none of my family got home. We're working class. And so I'm not going to get some, big family check. So we're counting on people and friends like you're doing this. Thank you so much to say, hey, please go to nanwhaley.com and donate right now. And then we're going to have a grassroots effort. So if you're interested in volunteering as we get going, sign up on our website. We've learned a lot from the Pete campaign, frankly. We had a lot of friends on the campaign. Have interviewed everybody that worked in Iowa. Oh, I lost you.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Okay, it's funny. I got my time limit for the day warning on Instagram.
You have a time limit on Instagram? I had no idea.
Yeah, you can set time limits on apps, so like Twitter, Instagram.
Oh, so you can say like you've done all your Instagram for the day, no more for you.
It'll like show you a little hourglass and it's like you've hit your time limit. So I've tried setting some pretty strict time limits. I've deleted Twitter on my phone, and Instagram. It's like, you know, they suck you in. So if you set it like I only want to be on this app no more than an hour a day, which is a lot. And then it hits, and you're like, oh my God, I've been on it for an hour a day. Anyway.
That's smart. That's really smart. How long have you been doing that, Chasten?
What's that?
How long have you been doing that?
A couple months, I think. And it's just like,
do you feel better?
It's so easy to hit like, you know, ignore for today or remind you in 15 minutes. But when you set it and it hits, and it's like, oh, I've been on social media already for an hour today. Yeah.
Does it make you?
So my goal is to never hit it.
Does it make you feel better? How do you feel after 2 months of doing that?
Oh, I think deleting Twitter off my phone was one of the smartest things I've done. Sometimes I have to like re-download it, like when the paperback launched, then I'd put it back on so I could engage a lot, and then like delete it. Like if you don't need it specifically, delete it, you know. And I just feel like Instagram, I like seeing pictures of my friends, and Twitter is like a downward spiral conversation where it's usually just like really angry, and nobody on Twitter has ever admitted like, oh wow, Nan, I totally see it from your perspective now. Thank you so much. I'll totally change my opinion or my vote, right? So that's why we have conversations like this, I think, are more important.
I do too.
Anyway, you were explaining, I don't know when it cut out. So nanwhaley.com.
Right.
Follow you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, stay up to date. Tell a friend, especially if you have friends and family living in Ohio. Is there anything else that we all need to know about the Nan Whaley campaign?
Yeah, and if you're interested in volunteering down the road, we're going to build our volunteer base. Today we had an organizing meeting. If you're in Ohio, we had an organizing meeting in Columbus because we believe in the power of people talking to their friends, like you mentioned. So if you want to sign up at our site too. But really appreciate any help before the deadline tomorrow to help this campaign start off on a really good foot.
Awesome. If everyone watching right now, I know it's so easy to think, well, I don't have anything to donate, or I can't donate, or if I can't write a check for $100 or donate $100, then it doesn't matter. Just throwing $1 in, $2, $5, it matters so much, especially over this campaign. So if everybody watching right now could please head to nanwhaley.com, pitch in $1 or $2 or $5 or whatever you can afford. It is really important that we send Nan to Columbus. So Nan, thank you so much. Thanks for jumping in the race.
Thank you. It's always good to talk to you. I really missed you. I can't wait to get big hugs in person.
Yes, I'm excited to come to Ohio, and I would really like to get some graders when we do.
Oh, for sure. Do you remember we went to the graders right down in Fountain Square? We had dinner.
Yes.
It was like a super long line, but it was so worth it.
It's always worth it. Yeah.
Best ice cream in America is in Ohio. I'm telling you.
I mean, now that's fighting words, but
no, we'll have that discussion. Next Instagram discussion, who has the best ice cream in America?
Yeah, I cannot talk about football, but I can talk about ice cream.
Exactly.
All right.
Well,
I
love you
so much.
I love you, and I can't wait to see you in Ohio.
We will see you soon. nanwhaley.com, please, everybody go support, and have a wonderful night. Take care of yourselves and others.
Thanks.